Alright, so today's a work day, and we're going to do some work on something I got from a client, and it's right here. This is an ACER-Aspire laptop, and it's about 5 years old. I'm being kind of quiet because the family's asleep. So this is the device. It's an ACER-Aspire 5. Like I said, it's about 5 years old. I own one of these. My spouse owns one of these. I've got at least 20 of these units out in the wild. The various people I know or I'm associated with own. And today we're gonna do some work on this. So let's go get it taken apart in the lab. All right, we should be recording a little bit that way. Here we go. Alright, so I've taken all the screws out of this thing now. All the screws are out, so let's see if I can open it. Yeah, it looks like it's going to take a little... Looks like I'm going to need to get a spudger. Let's see, I got nails. Probably ought to use a spudger though to go ahead and pry this cover up. So let me find my spudger. I'm too cheap to buy iFixit tools, but I did buy it like a knockoff brand. It served me well. I got most of the stuff in here that I need. And I'm going to try this one. See if this will do it. There we go. The trick is getting the corner started, and then just, I guess, sliding this along until the, there we go. Keep going around. There we go. And success. So yeah, let's take a look here. See what's going on, because they were complaining of it running kind of slow. So let's take a look here, see what we got. So the battery looks good. I think this thing is 4 or 5 years old. The battery looks good. It's not swollen or anything. There looks to be a little bit of a problem right there. That looks a little dusty and dirty, so we're going to have to blow that out. Here's what we're after, which is the RAM. It does have upgradable RAM. And then here's our NVMe. Oh wow, she's only got a 256 gig NVMe. I should have recommended that get replaced as well. That could be part of her problem, is that the hard drive is filling up. We'll have to look at that. I'm going to get the RAM replaced first. Right now it's got 8 gig, and we're going to bump that up to 16. And then we'll blow out the fan, clean that out, and then we'll put it back together and give it a try. So yeah, there you go. Get the camera set back up. I'll go get the RAM. So the thing I love about these Acers is that you saw how easy it was to take the cover off. There's like 11 screws, and then the cover just comes off the back. You've got access to the battery, so you can replace it. You've got access to the CPU cooler, so you can clean it. You know, you got access to the RAM, so you can upgrade it. The NVMe drive. There's a battery in here. Yeah, I mean, you've got access to everything, including underneath here. the trackpad, controls, and the keyboard. And you can see the battery's just kind of held in there, and this is a 3,000 milliamp hour battery. And yeah, so let's see if we've let's see what the RAM is in here. It's Kingston RAM. So this is a Kingston. This is only a 4 gig, so there must be some onboard RAM on this thing. Let's see what we got to replace it with. This is a Kingston. This is an A-Tech. See, what speed is this one? This is a 2666. Alright, so this is a 2666, 16 gig, 1.2 volt non-ECC SODIMM. So, hardest part of putting new RAM in is getting it out of the packaging. It's like they never want to use. And I don't know what it is about me. Most men carry a pocket knife of some sort. I'm not most men. And I like to do things a difficult way. You know, normally a guy would just pop out his pocket knife and go for it. Not me. I've never been... My dad was not one to train his young son on the use of knives or guns, for that matter. My father was kind of, after he'd been through World War II, he was kind of he didn't like violence, or, you know. But anyway, so let's see if we can't put that in there. Oh, great. Bingo. And then what I'm going to do is put I'm going to put the case back on, because it should just snap back on. And, yeah, it does. I'm going to leave the screws out, but I'm just going to put the case on enough to keep the battery from falling out. So we can turn this back on and run some more tests on it. So let's see if we are successful and if it boots and sees that new RAM. Yeah, she's also worn off some of the letters on the keyboards. But you know, it's a functional machine, or it was until I got my hands on it. Let's see if it boots. I don't know, it may not like that RAM. You don't see it booting up. There it goes. Now it's booting. What is this? I forgot what this is out of. I'll have to look it up. But it is booting, so that's a good sign. There it is. And she's got a fingerprint authorization in here, so I have to use her PIN. Okay, so it's booted up now. Let's go into Task Manager and see if we have better use of our memory now. Oh yeah, much better. Before this upgrade, memory performance was at about 67%. Let me show you what it's at now. So now we got a lovely, 20% usage of memory, 25%. So that made quite a big difference right there. And now it's not having to swap to the hard drive all the time because it's running out of RAM. Now I'm going to run a few more applications on this, and we'll see how the speed does, and then I'm going to check actually, why don't I just check the hard drive while you're here. We'll see what kind of size hard drive we have. Let's see. So there's 113 gig free, so I don't think the problem was her hard drive space, and I think she'll be fine with that amount of space she has. She's saving everything to the cloud. So I think that'll be okay. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and run some tests on it, some benchmarks and whatnot, just to make sure that RAM is functioning good, and then I'll put the screws back in and we should be good. But as you can see, we got 14.6 gig available memory out of that 16 gig we put in there, so that's good. Windows should run quite a bit faster, and we'll see. So the unit is still not back together, but as you can see, it is running Prime 95. Well, maybe you can't see that, but it is. It's in the background. It's running Prime 95, so we're putting this thing through its paces. I want to see how hot it gets while it's running under a stress test. And then once that is all done, then we will put it back to get, well, I'll clean the fan on it. I haven't done that yet. We'll clean the fan on it, and then we'll try again and see if it still functions okay. I'm going to let this run probably for about a half an hour, and then I'm going to see where the temperatures are at on the machine. And then if they're good, we'll consider it a win, and then we will move on to something else. But yeah, so far so good. It's working. Okay, so it's been a couple of days, and the little laptop's doing great. What can I tell you? I got the touch. But anyway, so the RAM upgrade went well. I took some Q-tips to the and some isopropyl alcohol to the components on the inside of the laptop. Made sure it was nice and clean. Blew out the dust that was in there. It's been running for 24 to 36 hours. I ran it Prime 95 for about 8 hours, and then just ran some YouTube video playing in high def on an endless loop, and everything seems to be working great on this laptop. I did clean up some of the startup stuff on here and kept it from coming up automatically, and it just hadn't missed a beat. I gotta tell you, this is the first time I've ever worked on one of these Acer laptops that I love. I own one of them. My spouse owns one. I bought about I've had clients. I've sold about 4 or 5 to clients on an individual basis, and then I've had a couple of my clients buy them completely Acer laptops for their entire staff, as many as 20 laptops in one location. Out of those number, I think we've had one laptop that we've had problems with, and I still think to this day that was that was a user problem and not an actual laptop problem. Anyway, be that as it may, I did not realize I've never had to tear into one of these laptops. It's why I recommend them so highly. And I can only speak for the ACER-Aspire brand and the Nitro. They've both been great laptops. And this, like I said, this is the first time I've broken into one of these. And you pull the back cover off, and basically you've got access to everything. You can replace. It's got a replaceable battery. You can replace the CPU fan. The cooler has 2 screws that hold it in place. You can remove it, clean it, do whatever you need to it. The wireless card is replaceable, repairable. You can put it. It's got an NVMe slot in there. It's even got a slot in there for a spinning 2.5-inch Rust hard drive. And I believe it has. Does this one have a CD-ROM drive? No. None of these have CD-ROM drives. I don't believe. Let me look. Yeah, and frankly, the camera's doing its best to keep up with me. That's great. But frankly, you don't need a CD-ROM drive anymore. You got USB drives, so you should be good. It's very seldom you need to burn a DVD on a laptop, but when you do, you're just shit out of luck on these. That's all I can tell you. But anyway, these laptops are tanks, man. This one is it's an old Core i5 8265U CPU. All right, so it's only 1.6 gigahertz, but it boosts up to 4. So, and for everyday use and even Adobe products and stuff like that, yeah, I recommend it. As long as you get 16 gig of RAM on it, spend as much as you can and upgrade the RAM on these things. And this one is probably 4 years old, maybe 5. This laptop may be 5 years old. This is one of the first ACER-Aspires I recommended to a client, and they're not much speedier now than they were then. So, spend your laptop money wisely. Don't waste a bunch of money buying more laptop than you need. But there you go. It's working great. So here she sits in all her glory, and yeah, she's up and running. I got it all back together. It's been running tests for a while. You can see this sticker is kind of nice and worn on this laptop, which means it's had really good use. It's been a responsive. I just can't say enough good things about ACER-Aspire laptops. They just work really well. They've got a nice display on them. It's only 1080p, but you know, they got a backlit keyboard, and you can see this one's had some use. Some of the keys are even worn off of it. But it just takes a licking and keeps on ticking. And I think the client paid $400 for this laptop when it was new. And you can get them all day for, you know, $400, $350 to $400. I think the lowest I've ever paid on an ACER-Aspire, whether it be AMD or Intel, and you can get them with both processors, was $379. I think that's the best deal I've ever gotten. So your mileage might vary, but here we go. I love something that's repairable, replaceable, upgradable, and man, oh man, this Acer fits the bill. You cannot, you know, this is not a paid endorsement by Acer by any means, and I'm sure there are those of you out there that have had your trouble with this brand, like all brands, but all I can tell you is all the ones I've laid my hands on of the Aspire series have been some of the best laptops I've ever put my hands on. And there you go. Take that for what it's worth. So I put the laptop back in its home where it needs to go until I can call the owner and let him know it's ready. So I'll deliver that back to this lady next week, or she'll come out and pick it up, either one. But this is the first time I've ever worked on an Acer laptop. I've never had to work on my own, but anyway, it's the first time I've ever had to crack one open, so to speak. And man, oh man, you talk about repairable. I had no clue that these were that repairable. In fact, when I first got my unit, I was kind of disappointed that I didn't see any compartments on the back that I could open with a single screw to replace like a hard drive or an NVMe, or to add RAM to it. That was kind of disappointing. And then I opened one up and realized not only can I replace the RAM, the hard drive, the NVMe, but I also have access to the battery. I have access to the Wi-Fi card. I have access to every damn thing inside this laptop, including the motherboard. And wow, 5 years old, and I just repaired it and cleaned out the fan and gave it, you know, she'll probably have this laptop another 5 years. So say what you will about, and these notebooks range anywhere. I've gotten them as low as $379. They've been as high as like $560, $600, somewhere right around there, just depending on the RAM and the CPU configuration they give you. But it's a godsend that entire back comes off. Now there's 9 screws holding it on, as you saw, but you know, whoopee. So I got to take out 9 screws, no big deal. The point is, it's a repairable unit, and I've just kept that thing out of the landfill. Now, unfortunately, this client didn't call me before she went out and bought a new laptop, and she bought a new Lenovo, but she only got it with a Celeron processor. Well, her old laptop had an i5. Granted, it was an i5 mobile, but it had the built-in Intel video and all that, and it definitely had more oomph than the one she bought. And I had to be the bearer of bad news and tell her that. I wish you would have called me before you plunk down the money. I said, but what we can do is we can get this old laptop working as fast, if not better, than the new laptop, and you'll have a spare, or you can give it to your daughter or your son, or you know, somebody who needs a laptop. So she decided to go ahead. I mean, the RAM was like $35, so we decided to go ahead and put it in. So there you go, a day in the life of an IT guy doing a laptop repair. I normally don't like to repair laptops and things like that because you know, they have ribbon cables and things like that inside of them, and after a while those can get brittle, and just moving them can break them. Not in this case. Your laptop wasn't that old, and there were no ribbon cables in my way. It's just, you saw it when I opened it. So anyway, we hope you found the video entertaining and informative. As always, please smash that like button if you like the video. Leave your comments down in the comments section. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and click that little notification bell to be notified of new videos when they come out. Donate if you're so inclined. PayPal, Patreon, YouTube join function, just like you become a YouTube premium member, just like the rest of us. It's up to you. Don't forget to come back and see us again, and don't forget we'll see all of you on the other side.
I've been watching old Unky Joe, from Texas heat to where the cacti grow, fixing server solar power in the land, hoping that his plans all stand, making life a touch more bright underneath those southern lights.